All right. Paul, can you show my ID?
Yeah, some heavy nails.
Yeah, you saw my ID.
Yeah, I saw it.
You showed it to him? All right. Just so you know, this interview is being recorded. Okay?
Oh, I know.
Okay. All right. And today's date is February 11th, 2016. I've got 9:52 a.m. I'm here with Corey Rayburn Lequieu.
Yeah.
Can you spell your last name for me?
Lequieu.
Okay. And date of birth, please.
4/17/70.
Okay. Today, you're here. You were arrested this morning in Fallon, Nevada, on charges of Title 18, United States Code 372. You know what that is?
Not exactly.
Okay, it's conspiracy to impede or injure an officer during their official duties. And you were charged out of the District of Oregon, if that provides any sort of clues for you. Okay. Before we go any further, I just have to go over some administrative stuff. Your advice of rights. And I need this, please. Oh, man. Are you still on daylight savings time?
Might be.
I got 9:53.
You guys are killing me. I'm kidding.
9:53. What time zone are we in? Pacific.
Okay, if you could just give me a verbal, I'm just going to go through this one line at a time. If you could just give me a verbal that you understand.
Yeah.
Yes or no that you understand. Okay. Before we ask you any questions, you must understand your rights.
Yeah, Miranda.
You have the right to remain silent. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. Anything you say can be used against you in court. You understand that?
Yep, and it sure as hell will be.
You have the right to talk to a lawyer for advice before we ask you any questions. You understand that?
Yep.
You have the right to have a lawyer with you during questioning. Understand that?
Yep.
Okay. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be appointed for you before any questioning if you wish.
Got it.
If you decide to answer questions now without a lawyer present, you have the right to stop answering at any time.
Correct. Got it.
Okay. The bottom of this says, I have read this statement of my rights. I understand what my rights are. At this time, I am willing to answer questions without a lawyer present.
Well, did you have any questions of me or for me?
Yeah. I do have some questions.
I don't suppose you have an attorney here.
No.
No,
we don't.
Didn't think so.
I think it would go a long ways that if we can kind of sort through some of this today. But these are your rights, and you have to let us know if you're willing at this point to answer questions.
I'll talk a little bit, but I don't think you're not gonna like my answers.
Okay.
Because
All right.
it's gonna incriminate you guys.
Okay. Well,
maybe not you personally, but
right. Okay. With that being said, I'm gonna have you interruptions. Sign where that X is right there, if you don't mind. Your full name, or your first name, middle initial, and last name.
You want O initial?
Yeah, if you don't mind there.
Perfect. I normally don't do that, but. Because of the charge that I'm facing to intimidate federal...
Impede or injure an officer in their official
capacity. That's interesting, because that was actually done by the FBI, not us.
You got that? All right. The time is 9:56 that the waiver of rights was completed. Can you hang on to that, please? Okay.
And I've got quite a few witnesses up in Burns that will testify to that.
Mm-hmm.
The FBI was going around playing their little psyops. In fact, the Harney County Fire Marshal made a statement, caught you guys, took a picture of your license plate, ran it through dispatch, and it came back as undercover FBI, trying to impersonate militia down at the armory.
So that would, if that's the case, that would...
I'm sure you guys aren't going to want to hear what I have to say.
Well, I want to take a step back and go back to the point where, to the events leading up to you departing the Fallon area en route to Burns, Oregon. Do you recall the time frame or the date that you departed this area?
Not exactly.
Do you know approximately?
Well, I'm not sure what that has to do with any of this stuff.
Well, we just want to get a timeline in order so that we can kind of ask you questions off of that timeline. So if we can develop a timeline, that's kind of how we're going to go through this right now.
Yeah, because I think it's probably better off that I don't answer anything at this point.
Okay. Is there a reason for that?
Well, for some reason you guys are digging. I'm not sure what you're digging for, but it's not in the interest of helping me, I know that.
Well, I mean, you heard what the charge was, and you know it's out of the District of Oregon, and we're just asking you questions pertaining to your presence in Burns, Oregon. And and the best way for us to start and to logically go through this is to start from the very beginning to the point where from the point where you left the area to the point where you returned to the area, and go through the events in between.
Yeah, I think I'd rather talk to an attorney at this point.
Okay, and that's your right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not trying to be an asshole, just protecting my own self.
Okay.
Because I know I'm sure you guys have seen the video footage of the fire marshal there.
We've seen a lot of video footage.
Yeah, and he resigned his position because, he caught the FBI there at the armory trying to impersonate militia. So I think once this all comes out in court, whatever FBI agent's involved up there, it ain't going to look too good.
Okay.
Because I know some residents up there, and they basically told me the FBI was staging out of an old school that was shut down with all these out-of-state rigs and going around terrorizing residents in the community and other things. And I've gotten that from a lot of people. So I'm going to say, I don't think you're going to like what I have to say from what I know, and it's not pretty.
Okay. I mean, at this point, I'd be willing to, if you want to continue with your waiver of the rights, I'd be willing to listen to what you have to say.
I'm just saying that's basically all I know is it's been put out there by a lot of people about the FBI's involvement and like I said, intimidating people in the county and community. And I watched a video just the other day of the owner of the Narrows, and the FBI came in there pointing guns at some of the people in there camping out.
What about the things that you observed?
So,
not what you heard.
I'm just saying that's all I'm gonna say for now that I know of.
Okay.
I mean, the videos I've seen out there on the internet, it's not pretty.
So you're saying the evidence is out there?
Oh yeah, it's out there. And believe me, their citizens have been going through checkpoints with their dash cams and getting what the FBI's been doing too. That whole PSYOPs thing and surveillance, it works both ways.
Yeah.
It definitely does, so. But am I supposed to be going to court for arraignment, or?
Yeah, today's going to be the equivalent of your arraignment. So, and we're going to be doing that this afternoon. But before we do that, we do have to do a few processing things.
Am I going to be transported to Oregon then, or?
Well, that's where the charges are out of. So, at some point, yes. The answer to that is yes.
So, but we don't know if it's going to be today, or?
No, I doubt it would be today. That would be expeditious if it was, and so I don't think so. Considering it's already 10 o'clock.
Am I allowed to make a phone call, or?
Well, we can talk about that. Before we do any of that, we do have some more processing stuff that we have to do, which includes taking your fingerprints, okay, and getting some background information that's purely administrative in nature.
Yeah, I understand all that.
Okay. And
sort of like whatever you want to call it, booking intake. Or,
Yeah,
It's just safe
yeah,
thing,
yeah.
just process.
You probably heard about some of that stuff from your brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So. All right. Well. I think at this point we can start that process. Might as well get that started.
Yeah, is there anything you want to talk about?
I'll get you guys get with the processing. Might as well get that out of the way then.
Before we do that, is there anything else that you want to talk about?
If I think of it, if it comes to light, I'll bring it up.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you certainly, I'm willing to listen.
Yeah, because
I'm in this office, so I have no idea. I'm just doing what I was told.
oh, I understand.
So I have no idea what went on, going on, or that's why I'm like, feel free to fill me in. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, let's go next door. I'm gonna keep this stuff in here.
Where are we going?
I gotta open up this door though.
First one left.
Hey, how are you? You could stand up, I'll take these off for you. You're not gonna be any trouble, are you? You'll be okay? Alright. Thank you for being so cooperative and everything. We appreciate it. Makes everything a lot easier.
I got a baby girl to get home to, so if they're quick, or we can get this over the quicker, I can get back to
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, so we kind of introduced ourselves already, but I'm gonna show you our IDs. You know who we are? Kevin Strauss. And I'm Adam Krametbauer, and we're both with the FBI. So I know that the folks, the officers over there, gave you an advice of rights, but we need to do everything. So before we talk to you, I'm just going to read this to you. And same thing, execute forms. We're going to have several forms tonight. So we are at Forest Grove, right?
Correct.
It is February 11th.
If you don't mind me asking, why me though? Because I mean, I was so low on the totem pole, like I was just a medic.
We're gonna explain everything to you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I know you got a lot of questions, and that's the point of this well, a conversation, and explain to you what's going on.
Yes, sir.
I have, what do we have for time? I have 7:58 p.m. Just so you know, and this is just because we're in a police station, this room is recorded, just to let you know. So it's 7:58 p.m. Before we ask you any questions, you must understand your rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in court. You have the right to talk to a lawyer for advice before we ask any questions. You have the right to have a lawyer with you during questioning. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be appointed for you before questioning if you wish. And if you decide to answer the questions without a lawyer present, you have the right to stop answering at any time. This statement says, I have read this statement of my rights and I understand what my rights are. At this time, I'm willing to answer questions without a lawyer present. So we ask that you would initial each statement and then you sign and then we sign here. Okay.
So did you guys choose FBI to give it?
So, just real quick, Bill, but we just want to make sure you understand each statement. If you could just initial next to each, that's just part of our administrative requirement. You're in the Army, you know how it goes. You know,
Yeah, print sign date all the time.
appreciate it.
Not a problem.
Where'd you go to school?
What's that?
Did you go to school? Where'd you go to, did you graduate from?
Graduated from Tongue Point, actually, the Job Corps out there, because I wasn't really doing very well in school. And
Really?
I was like my lifelong dream to be in the Army.
Okay.
So actually, because when I joined the Army, I had full intentions of getting out and becoming like a police officer and all that kind of stuff. And then I realized that being a police officer would need a lot of like schooling and that kind of stuff, and I couldn't afford it. So I was like, all right, might as well do security. It's the next best thing.
Yeah.
So I took up security, and I've been doing it ever since.
Well, that's cool, man. Are you from Forest Grove?
Negative. I'm originally from Gaston.
Gaston, okay.
Yeah.
How far is Gaston from here?
Probably like 10 miles.
Yeah.
Maybe. About that. I think it's that way. Oh, it's all wait.
Away from Beaverton or
That
towards?
way. That's
Okay.
yeah, it's down Highway 47 towards like Yamhill. You guys probably not from around here, are you?
I am not actually.
Yeah.
I'm from California, so.
Oh wow, I'm not that important, am I?
No, I'm from. I
that-
moved here from California a little over.
Okay, I was about to say, oh my god, people come from California to get me? Like, this is, I was just a medic, man.
We ask this because anybody signs these. What's your highest level of education?
High school diploma, and also I've got a plastering certificate from Job Corps. So I guess like
Technical?
technical, I guess if you want to
Okay,
call it.
okay. And then you can read and understand English, correct?
Yes, sir.
Read, write, and understand?
Yes, sir.
All right, then that's good. So basically, obviously you know what happened down at the refuge and everything. You were down there, correct?
Yes,
So this is purely what this is about. We're gonna ask you questions about what happened there, how long you were there, who was down there, you know, just simple questions like that. And part of this is to figure out like who some of the decision makers were, who was giving orders and things like that. We're just trying to get a better handle on what happened out at the refuge.
And listen, we're not here to debate, you know, where you stand, where we stand, whose land that belongs to, federal government, overreach, people's rights. We're not here to argue, okay? I mean, we're just here to
I'm not here to argue. I want to get back to my time.
No problem, man. I hear you. I just want to, you know, I don't. We're just here to, you know, get to the bottom of some things, show you some photos, and ask you some questions, and we'll be on our way. Okay. So.
Absolutely.
One other thing, because I don't have your phone with me right now. Do you know what kind of phone it is? And
Yeah, it's an
everything?
iPhone 5S.
iPhone 5S?
Yep.
So would you mind executing a consent to search for that as well? The 5S phone?
I guess so. Yeah.
It's just to see, you know, like if there was any calls made or anything like that.
I didn't have service down there. But,
Okay.
I mean, you guys, by all means, like,
Okay.
if it gets me out of here sooner, I don't care what you guys do.
Okay.
We
It's
appreciate your cooperation, and I really do. It's,
I mean, it's up to you. So, I mean, it would help move this along, and that's what our interest is.
I mean, if it gets me home sooner, then
All right.
I really don't care.
Okay, so